I'm Chris Hartwell, and welcome to the Heartbeat. Today we're going to be talking about episode 6 of season 1 of HBO's The Night of. Join me, will you? So, even as 6 episodes of The Night of have now ticked by, I still can't, with any level of real certainty, identify who Andrea's murderer was and why he or she did it. But I do feel like I'm continually getting a clear idea of what this show is trying to do and what its primary aim is, which, for me anyways, does help me more fully appreciate why certain developments have occurred more quickly, like Naz's transformation in prison, while others have crawled along at a snail's pace, like Stone's quest to cure his eczema. Because if we understand that this show's primary aim is much less about presenting the facts of that fateful night and more about exploring how those facts are perceived by others, I think we'll continue to find even slower episodes like this week's Samson and Delilah quite satisfying. So, to start at the episode's end, we had this mirrored moment to last week's conclusion with Jack Stone encountering yet another suspect. And once again, because we had been with the attorney leading up to that moment, learning from that financial advisor of Don Taylor's past thieving and how Andrea, while she was breathing anyways, stood in the way of his next conquest, in that final scene, what we perceived along with Stone was an unremorseful murderer and con man who had killed Andrea, collected her mother's wealth, and was now scoping out his next victim. Even if the reality of the situation may have actually been as dull and as innocuous as a personal trainer simply helping out an elderly client. And another character whose perception significantly shifted this week was Chandra. Every step that she took so perfectly moved her into a position to perceive that final phone call with Naz to be so much more than it probably was in reality. And the first and likely most impactful of those steps was seeking out and conversing with that hearse driver. More than anything, what that interaction did for Chandra was plant those seeds of fear and distrust of others, most especially men. An idea that was only reinforced by Stone as he told her upon hearing the news of her recent breakup, who cares? This is important. And from those two interactions alone, the freshly painted picture of men in Chandra's mind was, at best, they were cold and obsessive, and at worst, they were misogynistic and vengeful. So when Naz called her at the episode's end, what she likely perceived was a man with a taste for seducing and murdering women, once again feeling that hunger and seeking sustenance in the one place to which he remained connected. Her. The sad irony, Naz likely wasn't seeking anything beyond a human connection that wasn't made or maintained out of necessity, like those with his fellow inmates. It's also interesting to note that all three characters who were denied human connection this week, those being Chandra, Naz, and Stone, they were denied it because of their perception, more specifically, their perception of what they thought to be required of them. So Chandra perceived that to accomplish her goal of being a successful lawyer, an unwavering, holistic commitment was required. A commitment that had no room for things like boyfriends, which really was made so much more tragic when we were shown the inside of an actual courtroom. A cold and dispassionate place where jurors slept and lawyers recited scripted opening statements with about as much conviction and investment as a bored middle schooler reading a science paper. For Stone, he perceived his eczema to be this uncomfortable, alienating condition requiring a dogged pursuit of a healing remedy. But as it turned out, not only could someone like Chandra have cared less, having simply accepted the condition and moved on, being cured actually ended up creating a rift between him and those that he at one time could have connected to. Which really was highlighted so well in the blocking of that support group scene, Stone by himself on one side and all of his once fellow attendees on the other. And like Chandra, Stone's years of perceiving that the most important thing in life was a successful career meant that his son didn't pick up that phone and that they wouldn't be watching TV or going out to dinosaur barbecue together that night. In a similar way, despite his family is everything comment, Freddie seemed to have lost his connection to his family as well, really demonstrated in his belief that life inside prison really wasn't all that different to life outside prison. Because it was different, and that difference affected everyone. Demonstrated in Naz's case yet again this week, this time with the hate crime against that Pakistani taxi driver mentioned on the news. But even more than that, we saw the effect of Naz's incarceration on his family. But over the last couple of episodes especially, Naz's gaze has been pulled more and more away from them as he's perceived that survival in prison really does require complete assimilation to that environment, which on one hand has been proven true as he is still alive and kicking, but on the other that's been the very thing that snuffed out his connection with his family and aborted his connection to Stone and Chandra. Just look at the way that Naz's first interactions with Chandra lit as compared to his interaction with her this week. Her perception of him has so clearly and dramatically changed, and not for the better. And all of this does, in a way, seem to be connected to what the writers are trying to do with our perception of Nazir Khan, and perhaps trying to sever our connection with the main character. I really do think they want us to, episode after episode, be questioning things like, have certain scenes and certain moments, like Naz violently beating a man in the shower or confessing to remorselessly pushing a classmate down a flight of stairs, been about showing us that this man really is a killer, a predator, a tiger who's spent his life covering his stripes but is now being forced to show them? Or is this show wanting to demonstrate to us that in the right light, or in the wrong light rather, when held up next to the wrong facts, can we be made to perceive that pretty much anyone is a horrible person capable of something like murder? For me anyways, the jury is still very much out. I have very few answers and a lot more questions. Should we perceive those flashes of the night of the murder as Naz beginning to remember what actually happened? Should we view the shower head shown each week in the opening credits as an indicator of the shower that Naz took to wash the blood off of himself after murdering Andrea? Are we to see the white shirt that Naz wears in the courtroom as a reflection of who he really is? Or is it that black tank top that's truly reflective of the color of his soul? And it's because I continue to ask these questions week after week that I still do label The Night Of as a great success. It's a show about perception and just how much perception really can color and sometimes taint the facts and change our understanding of the truth. As the characters' perspectives shifts, so do ours in turn, and that really is a lot of fun and just definitely showcases how talented these writers are. Also, before I close things out, I did want to say to all of you very candidly, thank you so much for coming out and supporting these videos the way that you have the last few weeks, guys. You have clicked the thumbs up in a way that is just so encouraging and so flattering and really does continue to make me want to come back week after week and do my very best and connect with you guys. And it's shown in the view counts, it's shown in subscriptions, so sincerely, thank you so much, guys. And continue to comment below. I've loved hearing from you. I've loved hearing your predictions. I've loved hearing what you love about the show, and it's been also enjoyable to hear a few of the things that you haven't loved about it so much, so keep on that track with me, guys. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please do so. I'm going to continue to review films and television on this channel, and I would love you to stay up to date on all of those things. But for now, I'm Chris Hartwell. This is The Heartbeat. Thank you for joining me.